So let's start. So this talk is about building a DSL. I already heard the question there in Swiss German. So what the hell is a DSL? And hopefully at the end of this talk, you guys will at least understand what the DSL is, and maybe even understand, actually, hopefully understand how to create one DSL. You know, why do we have DSLs? What is the purpose? And would it make sense for me as a DevOps engineer, as a system engineer, as a PowerShell developer to build one, for a personal project, or why not for um, for professional project at work? So I'm not sure how this will work. I wanted to do a quick heat map. I wanted to know, like, who knows what a DSL is? Can maybe the people in the call like raise their hand? Maybe not Frank, who's on the bike, because otherwise he's might fall. So, but like maybe also like people in the room, like lift their hand. Who knows what a DSL is actually? I know. Okay. Okay. So one person. Harm is probably eating. Okay.
I'm still eating, but DSL in the past for me meant the definitive software library for storing versions of software. But that's a different acronym, I guess.
No, okay, yeah. So that's a definition of these three letters, indeed, but it's not the one that we have an interest in today.
Yes.
Indeed, now, and it's gonna probably tick a belt. So yeah, thank you for that. So first of all, so now that we know that there's some potential for learning. To quickly present myself, my name is Stephane van Gulick. I'm a former blogger. Let's say I'm a PowerShell trainer. I'm a tech lead and developer working in Switzerland for a company called Swisscom. I have been working quite a lot now for a long time with PowerShell, like 15 years plus. Now I started early my career with the SSCM 27, and I grew in that way in like the automation space. I've written myself quite a few open source projects, mostly just to learn some of the internals of PowerShell because I just thought it was cool. PS class utils, NeoSD Tattoo are two of them, and PSHTML is probably my biggest one. And this is actually where I gained all this knowledge about how to build a DSL. And I'll come back to that in just a second. I'm also additionally now trying to be a YouTuber, which is honestly very hard. So you guys can scan this QR code if you guys want. This will redirect you directly to my YouTube page. If you did not like all my videos and if you did not subscribe, you still have time to do it. Frank, wait before you're off the bike to do that, of course. And yeah, that's it. And so I have a few videos there. Like you might, it's very, very, very PowerShell oriented. It's really for, I believe, people like us. I mean, I make the videos that I would like to see. So, and I think the audience right here would probably also appreciate this video. So yeah, just check it out. And if you have potential requests for things you would like to see, just hit me up. We'll see. Cool. Additionally, as I was saying, I work for Swisscom, and we are currently hiring. So Swisscom is hiring all the time. So if you just search for Swisscom jobs, you will be able to find a website where they have all their jobs, but not all of them are there, right? And so, for example, we have job openings in my team at the moment with two positions open, and the job offer is not online yet. So if you know someone or if you yourself are searching for a new challenge, if you like to write code, CI/CD, have a strong interest in automation, good fun with just in a professional matter, then maybe hit me up on LinkedIn, and we can then start a discussion on that point. So for the definitions of what a DSL is. So to talk about a DSL, let's talk also about a GPL. So we have a general GPL stands for General Purpose Language. It is broadly application across domains and lacks specialized feature for particular domain. This is basically just PowerShell. And then we have something like a DSL, which is a domain specific language. It's a computer language specialized to a particular application domain, going to Wikipedia. So what does it mean in a nutshell? Because these are like definitions, it's not maybe very clear. So we would have like the general purpose language and a domain specific language. A general purpose and a general purpose language can be used to create a domain specific language. So the examples here would be, we would have PowerShell as a generic specific language, right? And then we would have a DSL, with like Pester, PSHTML, or Podge, and there are actually a few more that exist, which would use the PowerShell language to create a new language which will allow to facilitate to do one thing very, 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 very well, very specifically. So, and I go into the details of that like in a few seconds here. And so this is the list of existing DSLs that exist. So I would invite you to have a look at them. So we see have PSHTML, Pester, Invoke Build, PSSake, PSGraph, Blaster, DSL, Gherkin, DSC. Even everybody that is familiar with DSC, well, that is actually a domain specific language. And this is what a DSL actually looks like. I guess everybody is more or less familiar now with Pester. If not, I would recommend you have a look at it. It's a testing unit framework for PowerShell, but it's not PowerShell as you would think PowerShell or as you would use PowerShell. It is its own language, but it is still inside of the PowerShell language. So if you have a look, ultimately, this is ultimately, Pester is nothing else than a bunch of functions with parameters which accept values, right? So if you have a look, we have like this function here called describe, which accepts here this title here, this name actually, it's called intro. Then we have this other function, which is it, which accepts this name, which is called testing something. And that's it. And so these are like functions which are contained one into each other, right? So I guess everybody's pretty familiar with functions in PowerShell, and with that knowledge, it is possible to create this language, and this language is here to be able to do testing, yeah, to execute tests in a very specific and a very targeted way for testing, right? And so if we have a closer look, we see that basically, as I was saying, these are just functions. And so we have, it uses this concept of parameterless and named parameters, right? So this here is a parameterless way of having a function. And like it looks like it's not a function, but like there's no parameter name here, but it's a parameterless. And so it will, according to the type, it will be able to find which parameter set this parameter actually belongs. And so if we expand actually these things here, we can see that for the describe, we have the name, and then like this second parameter here, which it's the yellow curly braces, which is not very visible here. You see, it is a parameter less here, and you don't see it. But this second one is called fixture, and then we have this other function for the it function. We have the name, and the second parameter is called test, and it has these curly braces. And in here, then we have we pipe just a string called whoop to this function called should with the parameter b, and b has the value of whoop, right? And this is basically the DSL of Hester. So, in a nutshell, a DSL, so a domain-specific language, is just PowerShell, but PowerShell used in a different way, in a very targeted way for a very specific domain. And so I'm going to go back to this screen now, and I would like to ask you guys in the round, who has built already? So is everything clear here? Like, do we have a question, or can I just go with the flow? Okay, I'll just go with the flow. So who has built HTML reports in the past already, like with PowerShell? And how did you guys do it? And this is basically a rhetorical question because I'm pretty sure that it was something like this. Wait, I just want to see some heads nodding there or not.
Yeah,
Is it?
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So
Even
so
much yankier than that, or?
yeah, okay, great. So hopefully like this is great because I think you guys will take something very useful actually out of at least these next slides. So this is basically what I was saying. It looks like this, right? So HTML, for those who don't know, it's a tag-based language where basically you describe how a web page should look like based on node elements, right? And they it's a structure, and they can be imbricated in each other. And there are rules, right? But like it's very permissive. So you can basically have normally you should have HTML first, and then the head, then the title, a body, blah blah blah. And but you can mix them if you want. And ultimately, like this is just text which a browser knows how to understand, like Chrome, Brave, all of these browsers, Firefox. And so this is very often what you would see, or probably you wrote already, if you write reports for your management of, hey, we had this many incidents, this many, blah blah blah. And so ultimately you just concatenate, sorry, yeah, like just string elements together, plus equal, plus equal, plus equal. And then you can even get creative. You can create this little list here. Then for every fruit that is in my fruit list, which my fruit list is not here, and then you continue, you add more to it, and then you output it. So we can maybe just show that quickly here. This is what it would look like. If I execute this now here, this may be a little bit small, but basically this is what it looks like. See, HTML head, blah, 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 and we see like my favorite fruits is like the LI apple, LI banana, LI cherry. And yeah, this is clumsy. It works, right? It's clumsy. And voila. And now I'm gonna show actually like maybe a nicer way to do this in the future. So there's this module called PSHTML that I wrote because I was inspired by a person called Kevin Marquette, who did a presentation. Actually, he wrote a blog article in 2018 on PS Graph. So he wrote a module called PS Graph, which is a DSL on how to create node, graph with nodes with arrows in between. And he explained how he wrote it. And I read that article. I was like, oh damn, that's really interesting. And so I just was okay, I want to try this, but I just didn't know any structure that I could represent at the job I was currently working at. And I was thinking of some stuff, and I had was curious about web development, and I was like, HTML is kind of like that same purpose language. And I was like, I tried it with HTML, and ultimately this brought me to writing PSHTML. And you see on the left you have like an HTML, like a real HTML representation, right? And on the right you have a representation of PSHTML. And I don't need to, I mean, you probably see that this is the exact same structure as what we see here. For a matter of fact, this part on the left was actually generated by simply executing what we have here on the right. And if I go back to my more, let's say, complex example from before with the banana, instead of having all these plus equal stuff, like you can actually use this DSL, which PSHTML mimics actually the structure of HTML, and it allows you to write HTML inside of PowerShell. And the benefit of that is that you don't need to stop, and do this, stop, do your for each, and then add it in it. You can actually just live with PowerShell inside of your DSL. And this is where DSLs are really, really, really powerful, because you can just use all the constructs that that you love, and that you used to use, like for eaches, for loops, switch statements, functions, other modules inside of that same language. Um, so how does it work actually under the hood? So what I did here, like I actually recreated in a super simplistic way PSHTML. And there's way more than just this actually in PSHTML, because it's way more complex. There are a lot of nuances in the HTML language, specifically if you want to catch all the different attributes, etc., extra error handling. But like to the essence, this is kind of what it looks like. So here we have div2, which is like a div element. And you see basically what I'm doing, I'm just returning here a div statement with the contents inside of this div, right? And I'm just closing it here directly. And then when you call it without a parameter, so parameterless, it looks like this. Then I did the same thing for a P element, which is a paragraph. I called it P2. Simply, like, I have the two because I have PSHTML installed on my machine, and yeah, that would override it actually. And so the I'm doing the same thing here, but just with P. Like, yeah, I think you get the concept. And so here I'm executing. I'm having just this div plop. With P, I'm just, maybe I'll just show it to you guys here. Um, I don't know if you hear my dog snoring in the background. Like, he's not quite lovely. Yeah, so here we have this div. Here I'm calling this second paragraph element like this whoop, so here now we have this whoop element. And normally you would expect, like, according to what we've talked about with the DSL, that this should work, right? Like, I simply put this inside of these curly braces and it would work, right? But it actually works, but it doesn't, right? And you guys see, like, it has the div statement here, but then, like, this one here is not converted to what we wanted to have it like here. It's found with the plop. It it stays that it actually casts it to a string. So it does work, but it doesn't, right? It does something, but it's not essential. And so how does it work? And so we need to know one thing, is like script blocks are king. Script block in PowerShell is so powerful. I want to quickly go back. Who knows what a script block is actually? Okay, I see a lot of hands. I don't know if Frank fell from the bike already or not. Um, but we won't know. We will never know. So yeah, I guess everybody kind of is familiar with that concept. And so this is really like the the base concept of on which DSL actually relies on. And so basically, what is it for those who don't know what a script block is? So a script block is a type inside of PowerShell. It's ultimately everywhere where you meet curly braces inside of your PowerShell code. It is a script block, except if it is in quotes, then it's just a simple string. And so if you have a look at a script block, just like this dot get type, I know this looks a bit clumsy actually, but this is actually okay. You can see here like the type is of name of type script block. You can cast actually an existing curly brace like this to the type script block, and you can actually define this type into your parameters of your functions. And one very interesting method that this type has is this invoke method. So if you look at my script block here, I do a get member, we have this invoke. This is like more, but we're going to focus on this invoke one. So script blocks are executables, and maybe I just show that in the in here. So yeah, basically this is what I was showing with the get member. And so you can create a script block like this. So it's a bit, this is, so we're calling here a static method on this script block, and we give it the parameter get date. And so if we have a look at my script block now, you see that it says get date, but there's nothing happening. And so now you have this invoke method on it. And if I call this invoke method now with F8, we see like it actually called this get date. And this is like the current time now. And so basically, a script block allows you to execute code, execute stuff. And you can actually get creative with it, because ultimately a script block, just in like any part of the PowerShell language, a script block is nestable, right? And so as long as you invoke the script block that is in it, you will be able to execute it. So here's the same thing with the date, and I have it like in this nested script block. So I'm defining it here just with these curly braces, and then I'm creating these string enumerations in this for each. So here's another script block, which is like the one from the PowerShell language itself, and I'm invoking my first date script block here 5 times. And so if we execute this and see like it's all in this nested script block, we see we have my code in there now here. And if I call it and invoke it, then it will have invoked not only like this script block, but also the one that is in the for each, and also the one that is over here. So in a nutshell, what we take home is that like a script block can execute code. It is nestable, and as long as you invoke it, it will invoke and return it back. It will bubble the information back up the chain it was called. Sure, have a slide or not. Script blocks are executables. And then that's the script blocks, these examples. And then, maybe I stay in the editor. It's maybe better. So now with that knowledge in mind, so before we had like the div2, and it was just a string. Now I change this content variable to a script block type. And you see like the div3 now has this div element. And what we do is like we are going to invoke whatever content we get here. And this is where it's great, because if we give him another script block, he will go ahead and invoke that script block. And if that script block has a script block, and that script block inside of that script block has an invoke, it will also invoke that script block, etc., etc. And so here you see now, like this is this HTML, super, super simple. I just loaded them. And now we can see we have this div3, which is right here. I don't know if this might be too small. I don't know. Then the P, which is right here. Then the plop, and then like the closing statement section. And now we have built actually PSHTML again. And we can take this concept a little bit further and execute these lines over here. And we see we have like a longer string, and we can see like I nested like one div inside of another, one P3 where I had the plop, and then like on this same level as this div3, I had a P element, which is right here. And so in here, like it's very easy. You can also add for each, you can do a lot of things now, all the things that everybody already know kind of in this room of your day-to-day PowerShell, tactics.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
How you make sure that the hierarchy of those elements are right? So, like for example, if you have like a list, there is, I don't know, Ali, and what's the top one?
The list. The UL.
UL and Ali, right? Or the other way around.
Yeah.
How you make sure that that hierarchy is not messed up? Or
so that's it. So like in PSHTML, I didn't need to do that. Why? Because HTML is very permissive, as I was saying. So if you want to write an LI followed by UL, you can. Syntactically, this is not correct. It's not incorrect. Sorry. I mean, it will work. Like that text will be outputted, and then you would have like the web 3C recommendations, which might complain. But indeed, like I understand your deeper question on underneath that, and so you can do that by simply adding logic, at this element here. Here, you could say if content is of type string, you can do that, right? And this is actually what I'm doing in PSHTML. And then if it's a script block, execute, right? And you can add like another condition here, like if it is equal to something, UL, then then throw.
Yeah, you probably start in the middle of the HTML with HTML or head again. So stuff like that, right?
Yeah. But HTML is a bit special, let's say, because you're although it makes no sense, like it is permitted to do it, right? Like it's like in XML, you're allowed to put anywhere the XML nodes, but it might not be like ultimately the XML can be outputted, into a file. It will not throw an error. It's maybe when you're going to read in that XML that it's going to throw. And at that moment, so
it's like
I don't have that
document model save, but I mean, it's easier to write stuff like that for your output for sure. And it's,
yeah. And so I work a lot with classes. So maybe go back in the chat. Who works with classes actually? Okay, I see two hands. I don't know if if Frank is arriving at the hospital now. Okay. No, so the thing is with classes, actually, you have you know, with classes you would have the possibility to manage that like in a better way. You would have like your class parent, and then oop, away, and then would have a class child which inherit from parent, and then you could use this methodology by saying, hey, by creating this structure here, that child is a parent, right? And so you could in here like implement like a check on on content, is either of type like this, or
Sure.
get type, and then dot full name is equal to parent,
Sure.
whatever, like something like that. So you would have so in a nutshell, there's no internal mechanism, at least that I am aware of, that will allow you to have this fail safe, and you have to write that yourself. But
All right.
it's a trade-off because you're actually writing your own language, so you are the master of that language, so you can choose what fits best, right?
How far you want to go or not? All right. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
100%. um yeah, and so I've showed this, and yeah, then ultimately, yeah, now I spoiled the last slide actually. But and this is actually, so this is actually the magic of PSHTML. Like the main thing in PSHTML is this sentence. Yeah, find this command. It's I'm gonna show you, like, it will maybe make more sense. File open reason. Okay. So do something. So I'm just setting a breakpoint on the A here, and I just wanted him to open my. Oh yeah, see I have a parameter href which is mandatory. This is why he's complaining. Maybe I just do a p. Ah, it didn't work. I wanted him to open my PSHTML file. So hold on, I'm just gonna go to it directly. Live demo. So this is PSHTML. This is what it looks like. So there is this set HTML tag, and see, this is the main function. This is the function that every other function calls. So secondary sidebar. So by the way, who knows this secondary sidebar? This is yeah. So if you're module developer like me, like this actually, when I learned this, like I love this. If you write classes and you structure your HTML, your document well, you have this outline thing, which is a secondary sidebar in VS Code, which allows you to navigate in your whole thing here without necessarily going into the details. So look, I'm searching for set HTML tag. You can see it here. I open it. You see all the variables that are defined in here. I even have like a private function in there, right? And if I click on this ATR attribute, you see that I'm setting it here. So
Like
I just
similar
want to,
VS Code in Visual Studio, where you
yeah.
have the object browser. But that is cool, yeah.
Yeah, it is cool. And by the way, if you want to know more about VS Code, on my YouTube channel I've one very extensive VS Code for PowerShell developers video. I have like all the best tips and tricks in that video. This one is part of it, but this is just one of many. So I would recommend you guys watch it if you want to know more about it. But so if we just look at A, for example, here, so we have the help and like all like the parameters. And so the content is the one that we see all the time. There's no type on it, so like it basically it points to object. Why? Because content can be sometimes either just a string or a script block. And yeah, I had problems with it, so I removed the type. And then you see, ultimately, like this A tag, this A function is just this. You see, it's just one line, one command. I give it here the tag name, so A, and then like I remove the, I give him like the tag name here. I give him like the parameters, PS bound parameters are the parameters that are passed to this function, and then I say if the tag is a tag type void or non-void. So basically, HTML either like it closes like this, or it closes directly like it
Yeah.
sometimes it's in one thing, and so that is void or non-void, and that's basically it. And then set HTML tag knows how to handle everything here. So set HTML tag. Okay. Finding list. And so see get custom parameters here is like I'm searching for the custom parameters which are not part of the PS bound parameters. So basically the parameters of PSHTML. So these contents, attributes, and this stuff, these are specific to this no, this is the general one. So these are skipped. I'm not sure why. Yeah, I don't recall why. Sorry for that. And then basically, we're doing what we were saying before. We are actually doing that string, concatenation here. So these are like the attributes that will be inside of the element. We're adding the content inside of it. And so if it is, you see, of type system management automation script block, if it is a script block, then we invoke it. That means like we go back down in the chain one more, and since it's this set HTML tag is called in every one of these things, it's kind of like recursive without being really necessarily recursive. And yeah, if it's not, then here it's just a plain string. We are building this string, and that's basically it. And that's it. Then we're returning this string back. Trying to find where we send it back. Yeah, and that's it. Here. See, now we're the beginning of the tag. We're closing the tag here according to if it was open already or not. And now we're just returning it. And so ultimately, yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Here we have the tag begin, tag attributes, tag content, and tag end. And it's ultimately we are building just a big string we are actually doing what we were doing here. We have abstracted that into this DSL, which is called PSHTML, which works in any DSL, by the way, the same thing. And we just made it like more accessible for the consumer of this module. Yeah, so that was it.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions maybe, or
How long did it take you to write that code?
PSHTML a long time. So I've done that like on train rides, and just each time I had an idea, I was like, oh, I need to try it. And it's like, oh, this actually works. And then, oh, wait, like I'm just going to do this and that. And so PSHTML it became very, very, very powerful, because I also added my, I also use it to test, stuff with classes. So I went very, very deep into the structure of this. But you can ultimately, create these graphs and things like that. It's very powerful. So this page here is, for example, 100% built with PowerShell. Like you're just reading an image out, using invoke web request or REST method. I don't remember exactly to read Jeffrey Snover's, I believe it was his Twitter handle, when Twitter was still Twitter at the time. And just reading stuff out of Wikipedia and out of this Snoverism website, voila. And there's I want to show the UML diagram. I just cannot find it.
Yeah, but that's
impressive
with all like graphics and stuff. That's kind of
No, it's really cool. And so, yeah, like if you create reports, that you need to send for your management, or just you want to know, the status of your servers after patching or so. Yeah, for the small story is that, like, I work at Swisscom, and I've been talking about some stuff with some colleagues from another team, and they had a nice report, an HTML report for their patching status, and it's like, oh, this is a nice report. How did you create that? And the guy looked at me as with a small smile and saying, "Oh, I use PSHTML," knowing that I was the author of it, but I didn't know he used it, So it was actually really funny.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, Stephane, the script block type that you used, and you stored like a little script block in there. Is there like a limit to what you could actually store and run in that as an invoke?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, that would be, and if that's
If
a
there was
limit,
a
then
limit, it's pretty high, I guess.
yeah, but yeah, maybe the memory allocation of 64,000, blah blah blah, or a number like that.
Make
But
it as
honestly, I
complex
don't.
as you want. It just invokes the whole string as a script, so to say.
Yeah, because script blocks are, it's the core of PowerShell, right? So that means, like, if there would be a limit, that means you would have a limit for nesting, for eaches. I mean, nesting for eaches might need a limit. Actually, that would be pretty good. But yeah, that means that other parts of the language, like switch statements, all of these, functions, configurations, all of these things would also have a limit. So yeah, there's maybe one. I just know it. Maybe we should just Google it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm done. Actually, I just wanted to know, like, hey, does this talk maybe incentivize you to maybe think of building your own DSL? Because ultimately, if you think of anything that you have in your company, which either uses like a configuration file, or like like a way of how you structure things, like one example that Kevin Marquette was making is the RDC manager. Basically, that's a tool to create, to use, to have RDP connections. And so, you could actually structure, you could have like a, prod, and then in there, pod Chicago, and then in there server 1, server 2, and this could be part of that DSL. So if you have like specific things in the business logic that you want to enforce people to use, this is a good way to maybe do it. Yeah.
Sure, cool. Now I know what the term means. Hopefully, Roger come along. So thank you very much for explaining that to us and bring that concept.